Marshall Henderson, sitting in a cramped internet cafe in Phnom Penh, reflects on how everything fell apart. I lost $467,000 in Thailand. My wife, my house, my business, 12 years of my life. And the worst part? I saw every warning sign and convinced myself they didn't apply to me. 12 years. 12 years of my life that I'll never get back. 12 years of believing we were building something together, that she loved me, that Thailand was my home. Looking back now from this sweltering room in Cambodia, watching ceiling fans struggle against the heat, I realize how completely I'd been played. Every smile, every touch, every "I love you." Calculated moves in a game I didn't even know I was playing. Thailand taught me a lesson I'll never forget. Not everyone who smiles at you wishes you well. In fact, in Thailand, they'll smile while taking everything from you, and then smile again when you're finally broke enough to leave. Let me take you back to 2011. I was 52, Canadian, and I'd just taken early retirement from my IT consulting business. 28 years of building networks, managing servers, fixing other people's technical problems, and I'd finally saved enough to step away. I had approximately $650,000 in Canadian currency. After selling my share of the consulting firm and liquidating some investments, this was meant to last me through retirement, give me freedom, let me finally live instead of just work. I'd invested most of it conservatively, getting about 5% return at the time, which meant I had roughly $32,000 coming in every year. That was more than enough to live on in Thailand back then. Hell, it was more than enough to live like a king. My ex-wife Sarah had left me 3 years earlier. After 22 years of marriage, 2 kids, and thinking we'd retire together, she cheated on me with her personal trainer. Personal trainer. The cliché stung worse than the betrayal. She took half of everything in the divorce, and my kids, both in their 20s by then, sided with her. Said I'd been emotionally unavailable. Maybe I had been. 28 years of 70-hour work weeks will do that. I'd spent my whole life working in IT, always putting my own happiness second. I felt like I'd missed out on living, never taken risks, always played it safe. I'd built wealth, but forgotten to build a life worth having that wealth for. A friend who'd been living in Pattaya for 5 years kept telling me about his life there. "You can live like a king on pension money," he'd say over Skype, palm trees visible behind him. "The women actually appreciate men like us. It's not like back home where you're invisible." I thought he was exaggerating, but the idea planted itself in my brain and started growing. March 2011, I arrived in Bangkok. The heat hit me like a wall when I stepped off the plane, that thick, wet heat that makes your shirt stick to your back within seconds. The chaos of Bangkok was overwhelming at first. Motorbikes weaving through traffic with no apparent rules, street vendors cooking food on carts, the constant noise of construction and honking, and Thai pop music bleeding from every shop. Those first few weeks I felt like I'd finally escaped. Everything was affordable, exciting, easy. The food was incredible and cost nothing. My hotel was $20 a night. Beer was $1. I could get a massage for $6. The math was intoxicating. After a month in Bangkok, I headed down to Pattaya where my friend lived. He showed me around the beaches, the bars, the expat haunts. I rented a 1-bedroom condo in Yom Tien for 12,000 baht a month, about 400 Canadian. Food, drinks, entertainment. I was spending maybe $1,500 a month total, and I was living better than I ever had back in Vancouver. I felt invisible back home after the divorce. Women my age weren't interested in a 50-something IT guy with dad jokes and a beer belly. But in Thailand, in Pattaya specifically, I felt noticed for the first time in years. Women smiled at me. They laughed at my jokes. They called me handsome. I knew most of it was transactional. I wasn't stupid. But even transactional attention felt better than being ignored. If I'd just kept things that way, simple, cheap, smart, none of this would have happened. But I wasn't thinking about simple. I was thinking about not being alone anymore, about finding someone to share this with, about building a family again. I was thinking with my heart and my ego instead of my brain. And that's when I met her. I'd been in Thailand for about 4 months when I met her. Walking Street. If you don't know Pattaya, Walking Street is the main bar strip. Hundreds of beer bars, go-go clubs, discos, all crammed into one neon-lit street that doesn't wake up until after dark. The street was packed with tourists that evening. Girls standing outside every bar in bikinis or tight dresses. Music competing from every direction. The smell of street food mixing with cigarette smoke and beer. I'd walked past dozens of girls that evening, all of them calling out to passers-by, grabbing arms, promising good times. But Wilai Porn was different. She was working at a massage place on Soi 6, one of the side streets off Walking Street. Not one of the massage places with pink lights and girls in lingerie, but what looked like a legitimate Thai massage shop. She was 28, petite, with pale skin unusual for Asian girls, and she wasn't wearing the heavy makeup like the others. She looked uncomfortable in the high heels she was wearing, like she was still getting used to this job. I'd gone in for what I thought was just a regular Thai massage. She was assigned to me. During the massage we talked. Her English wasn't great and there was no Google Translate to help much back then, but something about her made me want to stay. She had this shy smile. She spoke softer than the other girls I'd encountered. She seemed genuine in a place where nothing felt genuine. After the massage, I asked if she wanted to get a drink. She looked surprised but said yes. Within an hour, sitting at a quiet bar away from the chaos of Walking Street, she told me about her life. She was from a small village outside Buriram. Her parents were rice farmers, barely scraping by. She dropped out of school at 14 to help support the family. She had 2 kids from a previous relationship, a boy of 7 and a girl of 5. "Thai man no good," she said, showing me actual printed photos from her purse worn at the edges from being carried around. "He drink too much, hit me, leave us." Wilai Porn wasn't like the other girls I'd met in Pattaya. She didn't immediately ask for money, didn't push me to bar fine her, didn't flirt with other guys while talking to me. She just seemed lost, like she'd ended up in this place through bad luck rather than choice. I know what you're thinking. Massage girl, poor village kids. Thai man no good. I'd heard it all before from other girls in the first 4 months. But with her it felt real, like she wasn't playing a game, like she actually saw me as a person rather than a walking ATM. Yes, I was 24 years older than her, but I thought age didn't matter in Thailand, that she'd appreciate stability over youthful stupidity, that I could give her a life she'd never have otherwise. We just talked for hours that first night. She told me about her village, about her kids staying with her mother, about her dreams of opening a small shop someday. I told her about Canada, about my failed marriage, about feeling lost after retirement. Before she left, she said her mother was sick and needed medicine. 5,000 baht, about 160 Canadian dollars. I didn't even hesitate. If this was real, if she was real, then helping her family was the right thing to do. An investment in showing her I was serious. Proof I wasn't like the other guys who just wanted sex and nothing more. But when I gave her the money, her smile changed just slightly. It was there and gone in a second, a flicker of something that might have been satisfaction, or calculation, or relief. I noticed it, and then immediately talked myself out of what I'd seen. Over the next month, Wilai Porn and I saw each other almost every day. I'd pick her up after her shift at the massage place. We'd get dinner, walk on the beach, go back to my condo. I fell in love with her. Or I fell in love with not being alone. Looking back, I'm not sure there's a difference. 6 weeks in, I paid her 15,000 baht so she could quit the massage job. I wanted her out of there before the place changed her, before she got too used to the lifestyle, before she met someone with more money. She moved into my condo. It felt like we were already married. She cooked for me. Simple Thai food that was delicious. We'd go out together every evening. She made me feel needed. 3 months in, I knew I wanted to marry her. I knew I wanted to build a life with her, to start a family, to never be alone again. I thought I'd found my second chance at happiness. I was wrong. Over the next 8 months, life in Thailand felt like a dream I didn't want to wake from. Wilai Porn and I would wake up late, have breakfast at a small Thai place near the condo, spend the afternoons at the beach or shopping, go out for dinner every evening. She didn't need to work anymore because I was giving her 20,000 baht a month, about 650 Canadian dollars. She'd send most of it to her family for the kids, she said. My investment returns meant I had about $32,000 coming in annually. Rent was $400 a month, utilities maybe $100, food and entertainment another $800. I was spending about $1,600 a month total, which meant I was actually saving about $700 a month. The math worked. I felt smart, careful, in control. The 20,000 baht I gave Wilayporn was nothing compared to what I'd spend back home on rent alone. It was a small price for happiness, for companionship, for feeling like I mattered to someone. After 3 months, she said her father needed surgery. Acute appendicitis, she explained, showing me photos on her phone of an older man in a hospital bed. The hospital wanted 80,000 baht up front, about 2,600 Canadian dollars. I didn't want to say no. If I said no, she'd think I didn't care about her family. She'd lose respect for me, she might leave. This was her father. Of course I'd help. I gave her the money. She cried and thanked me and said I was a good man, the best man she'd ever known. Her family would love me forever, she promised. Looking back now, I see this was the test and I failed it. This was the moment I should have set boundaries, should have said, let me pay the hospital directly, or let's go together. This was when she learned I'd always say yes, that I'd never question her, that the ATM had no PIN code. By the end of 2011, we were talking about marriage. I asked her to marry me on Jomtien Beach at sunset. I'd bought a small gold ring from a shop in Central Festival, nothing fancy, 15,000 baht. She cried, said yes immediately, called her family right away. She seemed genuinely happy. I felt like I'd finally done something right with my life. Then came the shock, sinsot. For those who don't know, sinsot is the bride price you pay to the bride's family in Thailand. It's supposed to show you can take care of her, meant to be a tradition that demonstrates respect. But it's become a way to extract money from foreigners who don't understand they're being treated differently than Thai men. Wilayporn's family wanted 1 million baht, about 33,000 Canadian dollars. I was stunned. $33,000 for what? Permission to marry her? A girl I was already living with. Money I'd never see again. It felt like extortion dressed up as tradition. I told Wilayporn no. She cried. She said her family would disown her, that she'd be shamed in the village, that I didn't respect her culture. She stopped talking to me for 2 days. I tried to negotiate down to 500,000 baht. Her mother, speaking through Wilayporn, said it was insulting for a rich foreigner to offer so little. They knew I had money. Wilayporn had told them about my retirement savings. They knew I could afford it. After a week of tension, I agreed to 800,000 baht, about 26,000 Canadian. I told myself this was the price of admission, that paying it proved I was serious, that it would give me standing in her family, that Thai culture demanded it. That sinsot money could have been 2 years of living expenses. That money could have been an emergency fund. That money could have stayed invested, earning returns, securing my future. Instead, it made her family comfortable while I pretended I wasn't worried about my shrinking savings. August 2012, we got married in her village. The whole village showed up. I'd say 300 people, maybe more. It was hot, chaotic, and entirely in Thai. I understood maybe 10% of what was happening. Monks chanted. Her family paraded me around. Everyone stared at the old white guy who'd come to marry the village girl. It felt more like a party for her family than a wedding for us. The ceremony cost another 20,000 Canadian. Food for the village, traditional outfits, dowry gifts for her parents, monks, entertainment, flowers and decorations. I paid for all of it. 2 months later, we had a second ceremony in Bangkok. She wanted her friends from Pattaya to see, wanted to post photos on Facebook, wanted a real wedding. Another $15,000. Even more people I didn't know. Wilayporn was glowing, so proud, posting photos everywhere, showing off to her friends about her rich Canadian husband. We registered the marriage officially at the AMFO. I was now officially married to a Thai citizen, which meant visa extensions would be easier, which meant I was tied to Thailand even more tightly. At this point, I'd spent approximately 83,000 Canadian dollars. Initial help, 1,600. Monthly allowances, 8 months times 600. And 50 equals 5,200 fathers. Surgery, 2,600 sinsot, 26,000 village wedding, 20,000. Bangkok wedding, 15,000 extra requests and gifts, 5,600 total, $83,000. I still had 567,000 left. My income was still covering our lifestyle comfortably, so I wasn't worried. This was all necessary, I told myself. This was what you did when you loved someone, when you were building a life together, when you wanted to do things right. We went to Phuket for a week as a honeymoon. Stayed at a nice resort, ate at expensive restaurants, went on boat tours. Another $5,000. It should have been perfect, but she spent most of the time on her phone posting photos, texting people back home. Every expense felt like I was proving something, rather than enjoying something. When we got back to Pattaya, things seemed to settle down. For a while, everything was exactly what I'd hoped for. Wilaiporn cooked for me, was affectionate, made me feel wanted. We'd walk on the beach in the evenings. I'd introduce her as my wife with pride. She seemed genuinely happy. I thought marriage would make things stable, mean we'd stop spending so much, give me the peace I'd been looking for. I was wrong. This was just the beginning. The first 2 years of our marriage, from late 2012 through 2014, were a mix of good and bad that slowly tilted toward expensive and concerning. We were living in my original one-bedroom condo in Jomtien. Rent was still 12,000 baht a month, about 400 Canadian. But everything else started creeping upward. We'd wake up late, eat out most meals, breakfast at a Thai place, lunch at a Western restaurant, because Wilaiporn said Thai food every day was boring, dinner at nicer places because we were married now and should live good. She wanted to go to Central Festival Mall almost every week. She wanted to visit her village every month, and every visit required bringing gifts, money for the family, expenses that added up. My monthly expenses started looking like this. Rent $400, utilities $150 because air conditioning was always on, food $1,000 because we ate out almost every meal. Wilaiporn's allowance $650. Her family $300 minimum. She said they needed it every month, miscellaneous, bars, entertainment, trips, gas, clothing. Another $600 total, $3,100 a month. My income was about $2,700 monthly from investments, which meant I was losing $400 every month, bleeding my savings without really thinking about it. Over 2 years, that meant I'd burned through another $9,600 just from the monthly deficit, plus another $35,000 in larger expenses I'll get to. Wilaiporn seemed happy enough at first, but she was always on her phone, always texting, always going to visit friends in Pattaya or her family in Buriram. She'd go to her village for a week at a time, leaving me alone in the condo. One day she saw a handbag she wanted at Central Festival. Louis Vuitton knockoff probably, but she said all her friends had nice bags. 3,500 baht, about $115. I bought it. It was only $100, right? How could I say no when she'd been so good to me? Looking back, that's probably the phrase that destroyed my life. It's only $100. Because only $100 happened dozens of times, and dozens times 100 is thousands gone without noticing. Her brother got into a motorcycle accident. Needed surgery on his leg, she said. 40,000 baht, about 1,300 Canadian. Wilaiporn cried, begged, acted like it was life or death. Said they'd have to sell the family land if I didn't help. Made me feel like a villain for hesitating. I sent the money. They were my family now too. I couldn't let them suffer. What kind of husband would I be if I refused? This happened every few months. Always a different emergency. Always urgent. Always expensive. Her mother needed dental work. Her sister's school fees were due. The village temple needed donations for a ceremony. The roof on the family house was leaking. Her niece needed money for university. Wilaiporn saw her friend's husband bought her a Honda Jazz. Why you not buy car for me? She asked. I, your wife. Her husband not even rich like you. You cheap? It made me feel inadequate, defensive, like I had to prove myself. I told her we didn't need a car, that motorcycles were enough, that cars in Pattaya were impractical. She pouted for days. She started spending more time on her phone. She'd get calls late at night and go into the bathroom to talk. Our sex life started declining. Once a week, then once every 2 weeks, then less. She wasn't as affectionate as before. She seemed distant. I noticed but didn't say anything. I told myself I was being paranoid, that this was normal after being married a while, that I shouldn't be jealous or controlling. When I asked who she was talking to, she'd say, my friend or my sister or why you not trust me. I let it go. What else could I do? I was starting to feel trapped. I kept telling myself things would get better, that this was just adjustment period, that all marriages went through rough patches. I felt like I couldn't complain because I'd chosen this life, because I was living in paradise, because other guys back home had it worse. Most of my friends from Canada had stopped calling. The time difference made it hard. I didn't have many close friends in Thailand. A few expats I'd drink with occasionally, but no one I really trusted. The expats I knew were either in the same situation with Thai wives or thought I was crazy for getting married in the first place. I felt alone even though I was married. By the end of 2014, I'd spent another $45,000 on top of the previous $83,000. Monthly deficits, $9,600. Family emergencies, $16,000. Gifts and extras, $12,000. Village visits and trips, $7,400. Cumulative total, $128,000. I was down to $522,000 in savings. My investments were still generating income, but I was dipping into principal for the first time. I was starting to worry about how long my money would last. At this rate, I'd be broke in less than 15 years, and I'd only be in my late 60s then, potentially decades of life left with nothing. Then Porn started talking about building a house in her village. This was when things went from bad to catastrophic. Early 2015, Porn said, "We should build house in my village. Why waste money on rent?" She had it all planned out. Showed me pictures on her phone of houses her friends' husbands had built. 3-bedroom concrete houses with tile roofs, modern bathrooms, air conditioning. A house in her village on her family's land. She said it would cost about 800,000 baht, about 26,000 Canadian. I was hesitant. I immediately saw problems. I knew the issues. "I can't own property in Thailand. It would have to be in your name. We married, same, she said. I your wife, not runaway. You not trust me? That's a huge chunk of my savings. 800,000, not too much. Back in Canada, house cost much more. We save money, no more pay rent. This investment, make money later when we sell. What if something goes wrong? You think I bad person? I love you, why you worry? We married, we should have house together. My family help if problem. We're fine renting, why rush into this? We not young, should do now. I want our children to grow up in nice house, not rent room." Her family kept asking when we'd build the house. They said it was shameful that I had money, but kept their daughter living in a rented condo. They offered to help with construction. They said the whole village was waiting to see what kind of house the rich Canadian would build for his Thai wife. Her friends' husbands had already bought houses, bought cars, bought land. Porn's Facebook was full of photos of their houses, their cars, their lives that looked more successful than ours. She compared me to them constantly. I started to convince myself she was right. We could have our own space. We could stop paying rent. We could build equity, or at least she could. But we were married, so same thing, right? I'd visited her village 5 times by then. It was peaceful, quiet. Her family was welcoming, maybe too welcoming, always asking for things, but that was just Thai culture. The house would cost about 26,000 Canadian, less than a year's rent back in Vancouver. It was affordable. Even if things didn't work out, it was just 26,000. I'd already spent more than that on the wedding and sinsot. For those who don't know, foreigners can't own land in Thailand. You can own the structure, the house itself, but not the land it sits on, which means if the relationship ends, you lose everything. You can't force a sale. You have zero legal protection. The house becomes hers completely, and you have no recourse. I knew all of this. Other expats had told me horror stories. I'd read about it online. I knew the risks, but I did it anyway. I convinced myself we were different, that our love was real, that she'd never betray me. I was too in love to care about laws and logic. Looking back now, I want to go back in time and shake myself awake. Over the next 8 months, from March to November 2015, we built the house. We bought the land title in her name. Actually, it was already her family's land, but we registered the house plot separately. Hired contractors her cousin knew. Designed the house together. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, modern kitchen, tile floors, air conditioning units in every room. She wanted upgrades constantly. Better tiles, better fixtures, a bigger kitchen, a fence around the property, a sala for parties. The original 800,000 baht estimate turned into 1.4 million baht, about 46,000 Canadian, because we needed better materials. The contractor found problems with the foundation. She wanted upgrades. Her family suggested additions that didn't cost too much more. When we went to finalize paperwork, everything was in Thai. I couldn't read any of it. The lawyer was her cousin's friend. Her family handled everything. They spoke Thai the whole time and expected me to just sign. I signed. I gave Wilaiporn the money in installments as construction progressed. 500,000 baht up front, then 300,000, then 600,000 for the final phase. I never saw receipts. She said cash was normal in Thailand, that contractors didn't give receipts, that this was just how things worked in the village. Her uncle was the contractor. I thought, what if something goes wrong? They'll all side with her, but I didn't say anything. I'd come this far. I couldn't back out now. Once we'd committed to the house, Wilaiporn seemed less interested in my opinions. She made decisions without asking me. When I questioned costs, she'd say, Thai way, you don't understand, or this how we do in village. It felt like her project, not ours. By the time the house was finished in November 2015, I'd spent 46,000 Canadian dollars. I was down to 476,000 in savings, less than 75% of what I'd started with. And I'd pulled 15,000 out of my investments to cover part of the cost, which meant my monthly income dropped from 2,700 to about 2,400, a loss of $300 per month going forward. When the house was finished, I felt proud, relieved, like I'd finally done something permanent. The house was beautiful, modern, spacious, exactly what we'd designed. Wilaiporn seemed happy. She posted photos everywhere, showed off to her family and friends. Everyone in the village came to see it. She was beaming. I thought, this is it, now we can settle down. Now she'll be satisfied. This investment will pay off. This is our future secured. I was wrong, because within weeks she started talking about opening a restaurant. The house was just the beginning. The first 6 months after moving into the house, from late 2015 through mid-2016, things started falling apart. Living in the village was different from living in Pattaya. It was quiet, too quiet, isolated. I didn't speak Thai well enough to talk to neighbors. Wilaiporn's family visited constantly, treated the place like a communal house, used our utilities, expected me to pay for everything. Her parents essentially moved in without asking. The house that was supposed to save us money was costing $1,500 a month. Electricity for all the air conditioning units, water, internet that barely worked, maintenance, paint peeling in the heat, tiles cracking, aircon units breaking. Her family helping themselves to food from our fridge, expecting meals, asking for money for gas to visit us. Between repairs, utilities, maintenance, and Wilaiporn's family using everything, the house was more expensive than our old condo had been, and we were stuck in a village an hour from anywhere interesting. Then Wilaiporn got pregnant. May 2016, I was excited at first, nervous. I wasn't sure we were ready, but I thought this would fix our relationship, make her happier, give us a shared purpose. She seemed genuinely happy when she told me. Private hospital bills, baby supplies, nursery setup, her wanting to stop helping around the house, her family expecting money for helping with the baby later. All of it added up to another $8,000 over the pregnancy. When the baby was born in January 2017, I named him Liam after my grandfather. He was beautiful, small, healthy, crying loudly. But when I looked at him, I noticed his skin was darker than either mine or Wilaiporn's. His features didn't look like mine. His eyes, his nose, his hair texture, nothing resembled me. Baby skin changed later, Wilaiporn said when I mentioned it. Thai genetics strong. He looked like my father. You worry too much. I pushed the thought away. I wanted to believe her. I didn't want to seem paranoid. I convinced myself I was wrong. I loved the baby regardless. He was my son. Wilaiporn's family started asking for more and more after Liam was born. They saw the house, saw I'd spent money on it, assumed I had unlimited funds. March 2017, her brother needed 15,000 baht for a new motorcycle after his old one broke down. June 2017, her sister couldn't pay rent in Bangkok, 12,000 baht to cover 3 months. August 2017, her mother needed surgery for cataracts, 60,000 baht. October 2017, funeral for her uncle, 25,000 baht for the ceremony and the family's contribution. January 2018. Her niece needed university tuition. 40,000 baht. Every few months there was a ceremony that needed money. A merit-making event. A family gathering I had to fund. Over 2 years, I sent Wilaiporn's family approximately $90,000, an average of $3,700 per month on top of everything else. I started noticing the emergencies were never ending. Money I sent never seemed to fix anything. The same problems kept coming up. Different relative, same story. Her brother got another motorcycle, then that one broke down too. Her mother recovered from surgery, then needed dental work, then had stomach problems. Wilaiporn and I barely had sex anymore. Maybe once a month, if that. We stopped being affectionate. We slept in the same bed, but might as well have been in separate rooms. We argued more often about money, about her family, about everything. We only spoke about bills and problems. She spent more time with friends, going to Pattaya for days at a time without me. She was always busy with something, visiting family, meeting friends, taking care of errands that took all day. She seemed to avoid me. Her phone was password protected suddenly. She'd leave the room to take calls. She'd angle it away from me when texting. She got defensive when I asked who she was talking to. Why you always jealous? Why you not trust me? Wilaiporn seemed unhappy all the time, resentful, bored with our life, like she wanted to be anywhere but with me. I started to suspect something was wrong. I knew she was hiding something. I felt like an outsider in my own marriage, in the house I'd paid for, in the life I'd built. My friend Derek, British guy I'd known since my early Pattaya days, pulled me aside one evening at a bar. "Mate," he said, uncomfortable, "I don't know how to say this, but I've seen Wilaiporn in Pattaya with a Thai bloke several times. They looked close. I didn't want to believe it." I got defensive. Told him he was mistaken, that she'd told me she was visiting her sister in Pattaya, that he must have seen someone else. I thanked him but ignored it. I was too proud to admit I might be wrong. By mid-2018, 6.5 years into our marriage, I'd spent approximately 315,000 Canadian dollars. Original investments, 83,000 sinsot, weddings, early help, house construction, 46,000, baby and pregnancy, 8,000 family emergencies, 90,000. Monthly allowances and deficits, 6.5 years averaging deficit of 400 per month in early years, 800 in later years, equals approximately 50,000 unexpected costs and extras, 28,000 total, $315,000. I had 335,000 left, just over half of what I'd started with. My monthly income was down to about 2,400 because I'd pulled money from investments. I was spending 2,800 a month on average now. I was losing $400 every month, watching my retirement disappear. I felt trapped, depressed, angry at myself, scared about the future, too proud to admit failure. I'd invested too much to walk away. I'd come too far to quit now. I'd put my entire future into this. I couldn't admit I'd wasted everything on a mistake. I kept telling myself things would get better. She's just stressed. This is temporary. We've been through worse. I just need to be patient. The house will appreciate in value. Liam needs both parents. Then I found something that would destroy everything I thought I knew. September 2018, it was a Tuesday afternoon. I was sitting at home in the village, watching Liam play with toys on the floor. Wilaiporn had gone to Pattaya again. Visiting sister, she'd said, leaving early that morning. Her phone was sitting on the table. She'd forgotten it. Or maybe she'd left it on purpose, confident I'd never look. A message notification lit up the screen, from Somchai with a heart emoji. I could see the preview. "Miss you last night. When you come back." My stomach dropped. My hands started shaking. I picked up the phone. No password this time. She must have left in a hurry. I opened the messages. Message after message. Photos, videos. A relationship that had clearly been going on for months, maybe years. Somchai was the Thai ex-boyfriend she'd told me was no good. The father of her first 2 children, the one who'd supposedly left her. They were very much together. Messages from when I was at the house with Liam. Messages from when she was supposedly visiting her family. Photos of them together. at restaurants, at hotels, at the beach, her telling him, "I love you," in Thai, him calling her my wife. There were messages about me, about the house I'd built, our house they called it, laughing about how the stupid Farang paid for everything, about money I'd sent for her family's emergencies, money that had gone to him, to their life together, about how she'd keep me around until we get enough money. I read for an hour, 2 hours. My heart was pounding. I felt physically sick. Every message was another knife. Then I found the messages about Liam. "Our son is beautiful," Somchai had written when Liam was born. "The Farang thinks he's the father, stupid old man." Wilaiporn had responded, "I know, but his money is good. We need more for the house expansion." Our son. Their son. Not my son. I sat there on the couch, phone in hand, staring at the words. Liam was playing 5 feet away, babbling happily, calling me Papa in his broken English-Thai mix. I'd been his father for 19 months. I'd changed his diapers, walked him through his first steps, woken up for midnight feedings, loved him completely. And he wasn't mine. The math hit me then. Liam was born in January 2017, which meant Wilaiporn got pregnant in April or May 2016. I'd been at a conference in Bangkok for 2 weeks in April 2016. She'd insisted I go, said she'd be fine alone in the village. She'd gotten pregnant while I was gone, with her ex-boyfriend. The man she'd told me abandoned her. Suddenly everything made sense. That time in 2013 when an old man had approached her in Pattaya and she'd acted uncomfortable, that was someone who knew her from before, who knew the truth. When she'd kept her phone secret, she was hiding Somchai. When she'd gone to the village alone, she was seeing him. When her family had acted weird around me, they'd all known. The surgery money for her father, I'd later learned from a cousin that her father had been fine, that there'd been no surgery. That money had gone to Somchai, who'd needed a new motorcycle. The roof repairs on the family house, the roof had been fine. More money for Somchai, her brother's accidents, her mother's surgeries, her sister's rent. I'd never verified any of it. I'd just believed her, trusted her, handed over money whenever she asked. Derek had tried to warn me 8 months ago. I saw her with a Thai man in Pattaya. I'd ignored him, called him jealous, defended her. He was right all along. My friend, Martin had said in 2012, back when I first met Wilaiporn, "They all have the same story. Be careful." I thought he was bitter that he didn't understand what Wilaiporn and I had. He'd understood perfectly. The full picture emerged as I read through months of messages. Wilaiporn had never stopped seeing Somchai. They'd been together. The entire time, before she met me, during our courtship, through our marriage, before and after Liam's birth. I was never her husband. I was her foreign sponsor. The ATM machine that funded their real life together. Somchai lived in her village. That's why she'd wanted to build there, to be near him. The house wasn't for us. It was for her and Somchai. I'd built them a house. She'd been supporting him with my money, his motorcycle, his clothes, his drinking money, his life, funded by the stupid Canadian who thought he was building a family. Her family knew, her friends knew, everyone in the village knew. I was the only one who didn't know, the foreigner who'd been played from the start. I calculated it quickly. Over 6.5 years, I'd given her approximately $240,000 in direct payments, allowances, and family emergencies. A significant portion of that had gone to Somchai. I'd built a house for $46,000. They were living in it together whenever I wasn't there. I'd raised another man's child for 19 months. Total, over $300,000 spent on supporting her relationship with someone else. I felt physically sick. I wanted to hit something, throw something, scream. My hands were shaking. I stood up so fast the chair fell over. Liam looked at me, startled. I felt my legs go weak. Tears came even though I tried to stop them. I felt completely hollow, gutted, like someone had reached inside and torn out everything that made me human. Part of me still couldn't believe she was saying these things in writing. Part of me wanted to think the messages were fake somehow, that this was a misunderstanding, that the past 6 years couldn't have been completely false. But mostly, I hated myself. For being so stupid, for ignoring every warning sign, for wasting 6.5 years on someone who'd never loved me. for seeing the red flags and convincing myself they didn't apply to me. I'd thought I was smart, careful, an IT professional who analyzed systems, saw patterns, solved problems. But I'd been the biggest fool in Thailand. I decided right then. I needed to confront her. I needed to hear her admit it. I needed to see her face when she couldn't lie anymore. That evening, when Willeporn came home from visiting her sister, I was waiting. Willeporn walked in around 7 p.m., cheerful, carrying bags from Central Festival. She'd been shopping in Pattaya while I'd been home discovering the truth. I was sitting at the table with her phone in front of me, open to the messages with Somchai. I'd barely slept. I'd spent the entire day reading through years of lies, calculating how much I'd lost, watching my entire life in Thailand reveal itself as fiction. "We need to talk," I said. She looked at the phone on the table. Her face went pale. She froze in the doorway, bag still in her hands. "Who is Somchai?" I asked, though I already knew. She didn't say anything at first, just stared at the phone, then at me, then back at the phone. "What you talking about?" she finally said, but her voice was weak. "Don't lie to me anymore," I said. I was shaking. I read everything, every message, every photo. I know about Somchai. I know about Liam. I know all of it. She looked down, set the bags on the floor slowly. When she looked up, something had changed in her face. The mask had dropped. The sweet, grateful village girl was gone. In her place was someone cold, calculating, caught. "How long?" I demanded. "How long have you been with him?" She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Since before I meet you." The admission hung in the air between us. Since before she met me. The entire relationship, every moment, every "I love you," every time I'd felt grateful for finding her, had been a lie from the very beginning. "So when you met me in 2011, I couldn't finish the sentence. "I with him already," she said, her English getting simpler as she stopped trying to perform. "I need money, he not have money, you have money, simple. Simple. 6.5 years of my life reduced to simple. And Liam?" She looked at me for a long moment. "He's Somchai's son, I know from beginning." The words hit me like a physical blow. She'd known, from the beginning, from the moment she told me she was pregnant, through every ultrasound, every baby preparation, every midnight feeding. She'd known Liam wasn't mine, and she'd let me believe he was. "Why?" It was the only question I could manage. "I need money," she said again, as if that explained everything. "You have money. You want wife, I want money. We both get what we want. I wanted a real relationship. I wanted love. I wanted—" She laughed. Actually laughed. "Love, you think I love, old man? You Canadian, I Thai, you 50, I 28 when we meet. You think it real?" Every word was a knife. But she wasn't done. "All Farang same. Think they special. Think Thai girl really love them. You all want young girl who smile and say you handsome. You want servant who grateful. You pay for that. This just business for me. Business," I repeated numbly. "I built you a house. I married you. I raised a child I thought was mine. House in my name," she said, and there was satisfaction in her voice. "You give me. I not ask for, you offer. You want build house, I say, okay. Your choice." She was right, technically. I had offered. I had pushed for marriage. I had wanted to build the house to prove something. To her, to myself, to everyone back home who thought I was making a mistake. "The money for your family," I said. "Your father's surgery. Your brother's accidents. Your mother's medical bills. Where did that money really go?" "Some to family," she said with a shrug. "Some to Somchai. Some I keep for myself." "Why you care now?" "Already gone." "Because I trusted you." I was yelling now, couldn't help it. "I loved you. I gave you everything." "You not give me, you buy me," she shot back. "You buy wife, you buy house, you buy family. Same, all foreigner in Thailand. You think you different? Who same as all other old man who come here with money." She walked past me, started toward the bedroom. "I go pack. I go stay with my family. You stay here or you go, I don't care. House is mine. Liam is mine. You have nothing. Did you ever care about me at all?" I called after her. She stopped, turned around. For a moment I thought I saw something like pity in her eyes, but then it was gone. "Maybe first month," she said. "You seem nice, but then you're so easy, so stupid. You believe everything. You give everything." After that, no, just business. She went into the bedroom. I heard her pulling clothes from the closet, throwing things into bags. 20 minutes later, she emerged with 2 suitcases, picked up Liam from where he'd been playing in the next room and headed for the door. "Wait," I said. "We need to talk about the house, the divorce, custody." "Talk to lawyer," she said. "But I tell you now, house is my name. Liam, not your son. You have no rights in Thailand. You Canadian, I Thai. This my country. You already lose." And she was right. I already had. The door closed behind her. I heard her motorcycle start up. Then silence. I sat in the house I'd built, the house that was legally hers, that I'd paid for but would never own, and calculated my losses. The house, $46,000 in a structure I'd never see again. The business funds and family money, $90,000 that had gone to him, to her, to people who'd never needed it. The sin-sot, the weddings, the early expenses, $83,000 buying into a lie. The monthly allowances and deficits, $50,000 over 6.5 years. The baby expenses, $8,000 for a child who wasn't mine. Miscellaneous expenses and extras, $28,000. Total, $305,000 Canadian dollars. And what did I have? $130,000 left in savings. A house I couldn't legally claim. A marriage to a woman who'd never loved me. 19 months of fatherhood that turned out to be a lie. I was 59 years old. Too old to rebuild easily. Too broke to retire. Too humiliated to face people back home who'd warned me this would happen. I had to decide what to do next. Leave Thailand and start over with almost nothing. Stay and try to salvage something. Fight a legal battle I'd almost certainly lose. As I sat there in that empty house, I realized the worst part wasn't the money. It was that Porn was probably right. I hadn't been building a relationship. I'd been buying one. And when the bank account ran dry enough, when I'd served my purpose, the transaction was complete. Thailand had taught me the lesson I'd spent $300,000 to learn. The next day, Thursday, I woke up in the house alone. Porn had taken Liam to her family's house down the road. I could see them from my window. Her, Somchai, Liam, her parents, all sitting together eating breakfast like a family. The family they'd always been. The family I'd funded while pretending to be part of it. Over the following week, as I looked deeper, talked to people, checked records I'd been too trusting to examine before, I learned more truths that made everything worse. I spoke with her cousin, one of the few family members who seemed uncomfortable with what had happened. She told me the emergency surgery for Porn's father had never happened. Her father had been fine. The hospital photos had been from years earlier, when he'd actually had a minor procedure. The 60,000 baht I'd sent had gone to Somchai to pay off gambling debts. Her brother's motorcycle accidents. The first one was real. The second one wasn't. The bike had been sold and the accident money had been used to buy a new one for Somchai. The university tuition for her niece. Her niece had dropped out of university 2 years earlier. That money had gone to renovate her parents' house, a renovation I'd never been told about, because it hadn't been for our house. I checked Porn's Facebook, the account she'd blocked me from seeing most of. She'd been posting photos with Somchai for years, the two of them at beaches, at restaurants, on trips. Photos tagged My Love and Together Forever in Thai. Hundreds of photos documenting their real relationship, while I'd been the secret, the one she'd hidden. She had a second phone I'd never known about. I found the bill in a drawer, a phone plan I wasn't paying for, registered to a number I'd never seen. That was the phone she'd used for Somchai, for her real life. The phone I knew about had been for managing me. Other expats in Pattaya started reaching out once word spread. 3 different guys contacted me to say they'd tried to warn people about Porn years ago. She'd worked the same game on at least 2 other foreigners before me, different circumstances but the same pattern. One British man had built her a shop in 2009. One Australian had sent money for 2 years before he caught on. I was just the most successful mark, the one who'd lasted longest and paid most. The village land I'd built on? Her family had been planning to sell it for years. The house had increased the property value significantly. If they sold now, they'd get triple what the land had been worth, and I'd have zero claim to any of it. I'd been played from the start. The mark in a long con, the fool among people who were in on the joke. The only one who didn't know what everyone else knew. People at the bars in Pattaya had known. Derek had known. Martin had known. Thai people I'd met had known. Other expats had known. Her family had known. Her friends had known. The only person who hadn't known was me. I sat down and calculated everything methodically, going through every bank statement I'd saved, every transfer receipt, every expense I could document. Year 1, 2011-2012. $33,000 Year 2, 2012-2013. $28,000 Year 3, 2013-2014. $34,000 Year 4, 2014-2015. $58,000 including house construction, Year 5, 2015-2016. $46,000 Year 6. 2016-2017, $52,000 Year 7. 2017-2018, $54,000 total, $305,000 Canadian dollars. I had $130,000 left, 20% of what I'd started with. By pulling money out of investments, my monthly income had dropped from $2,700 to about $1,900, not enough to live on anymore without eating into the remaining principal. I couldn't go back to my original retirement plan. I couldn't afford to live in Thailand anymore, not with any dignity. I couldn't recover from this financially. I couldn't start over. I couldn't rebuild what I'd lost. I was 59 years old, too old to work decades to rebuild my savings, past the age where starting over made sense. Looking at years of work just to survive, facing a retirement of poverty, I consulted a Thai lawyer in Pattaya. An expensive consultation, 5,000 baht for an hour of brutal honesty. The house is in her name, he asked. Yes. You have almost no rights. Thai law heavily favors Thai nationals in property disputes. Anything in her name is hers, period. But I paid for it. I have bank records showing... Doesn't matter, he interrupted. You can try to claim it was a gift made under duress, but you'd need to prove fraud. Very difficult, very expensive. Court costs would be 50,000 to 100,000 baht, maybe more. The case could take years. Thai courts rarely side with foreigners in these situations. What about custody of... I stopped. The child isn't mine anyway. DNA would prove that. Then you have no parental rights at all. No claim to custody, no visitation rights, nothing. The money I sent her family, gifts. Under Thai law, gifts to family members are not recoverable. You'd need to prove each payment was under false pretenses. Do you have evidence of fraud for each transaction? I didn't. I'd trusted her. I'd never asked for receipts, never verified stories, never documented anything. I'd just given her money whenever she asked. My advice, the lawyer said, not unkindly, is to leave Thailand. You will not win this fight. Even if you win, the victory will cost more than you'll recover. Take what you have left and go somewhere cheaper. Start over. I tried to negotiate with Porn through her cousin, offered her 50,000 baht to sign the house over to me, which was insane, offering to buy back the house I'd already paid for, but I was desperate. She refused unless I paid 300,000 baht. She knew I didn't have that much liquid. She was demanding money to give me back what I'd already bought. When I said no, she said she'd tie it up in courts for years, make it impossible for me to sell or claim it, make my life hell if I didn't just leave. I realized then there was no escape, no way to recover, no justice coming. This was when I finally understood Thailand. All those years, I thought I was building a life here, that I was part of the community, that Thailand welcomed foreigners who respected the culture. But the truth was I was always just an ATM. Thailand tolerates foreigners as long as money flows. The smile is a mask. You'll never belong no matter what you do, how long you stay, how much you respect the culture. The greed is systemic and unapologetic. From day one, I'd been seen as money, nothing more. Those famous Thai smiles, they smile while taking everything from you. After 6.5 years, I was still Farang, still an outsider, still not one of them. The whole country is set up this way. Laws, culture, expectations. It's designed to extract money from foreigners and provide them no protection. I couldn't sleep. I'd lost 20 pounds. I started drinking heavily. Leo beer from morning until I passed out. I fell into depression so deep I couldn't function. I had panic attacks thinking about my future. I felt suicidal some days, sitting in that house with a bottle thinking about how easy it would be to just end it. I had no one to talk to. I'd alienated my family back home years ago, when I'd dismissed their concerns. I'd lost contact with old friends. I was embarrassed to admit what happened. I felt completely alone. I thought of myself as smart, careful, successful, not the type to fall for this. But I'd been the biggest fool in Thailand. Exactly the stereotype. Another statistic. The cautionary tale other expats would tell. I had to decide. Option 1. Leave Thailand and start over with almost nothing. Admit complete failure. Work again at 59. Rebuild from zero. Option 2. Stay in Thailand and survive on what little I had left. Live with the humiliation. Hope something changed. Accept this was my life now. I chose option 1. I chose to leave. Because I had no other choice. Because my pride couldn't take watching her and Somchai living in the house I'd built. Because I refused to let her win completely. Because I had nothing left to lose. Because every day I stayed was another day of being reminded of my stupidity. What I didn't know was that things could still get worse. That the final blow was coming. That Thailand wasn't done with me yet. October 2018, I decided to leave Thailand. I'd booked a one-way flight to Phnom Penh, Cambodia. For November 15th, I'd sell what I could, take the financial loss, and start over somewhere cheaper, where I could survive on my remaining savings. But I'd been living in Thailand on a marriage visa that required 90-day reports. A check-in with immigration every 90 days to confirm you still lived at your registered address. Just a formality, just a stamp, something I'd done dozens of times over the years. My report was due November 13th, 2 days before my flight. I'd planned to do it the week before, but we porn drama. Packing, selling furniture, closing accounts. Everything was chaos. I kept telling myself I'd do it tomorrow, and tomorrow kept coming and going. November 13th, I woke up late. The report had to be done that day. The immigration office in Buriram closed at 4:30 p.m. I left the village at 2:45 p.m. Thought I had plenty of time. The immigration office was only 30 kilometers away. But there was an accident on the main road. Traffic backed up for kilometers. I sat there watching the clock tick forward. 3:30, 3:45. 4:02, I finally got around the accident at 4:15. I arrived at the Buriram immigration office at 4:32 p.m. The doors were locked. The lights were off. A sign in Thai and English closed. Office hours 8:30 a.m., 4:30 p.m. I'd missed it by 2 minutes. I banged on the door anyway, hoping someone was still inside. Nothing. I called the office number, no answer. I sat in the parking lot feeling sick, knowing this was bad but not yet understanding how bad. The next day, November 14th, I arrived at immigration at 8 a.m. before they opened. Waiting to file my report first thing, the immigration officer looked at my passport, checked the computer, and her face changed. "You are late," she said in English. "Your report was due yesterday. Today is 1 day overstay. I know, I'm sorry, there was traffic." "Overstay fine is 500 baht per day," she interrupted. "But for 90-day report violation, different fine. 20,000 baht. 20,000 baht. About 650 Canadian dollars. What, for being 1 day late? I've never heard of—" "New rule," she said, showing me a printed notice in Thai that I couldn't fully read. "September 2018. 90-day report more than 7 days late. Fine is 20,000 baht. You are—" She counted on the computer. 2 days late, and yesterday was the last allowed day. So 20,000 baht. But I came yesterday. I was only 2 minutes late. Office closed at 4:30. You came after. Count as you not come. So you 2 days late. 20,000 baht. Or we cannot process any visa extension or new report, I argued. I pleaded. I showed her receipts proving I'd been stuck in traffic. She was unmoved. The rule was the rule. Payment or no visa services. My flight was the next day. I needed my passport to fly. I couldn't afford to miss the flight. I'd lose the ticket cost, and I'd arranged to meet a friend in Cambodia who'd offered me a temporary place to stay. I paid the 20,000 baht, 650 Canadian dollars, for being 2 hours late to file paperwork. Thailand took one final bite before I could escape. November 15th, I left Thailand. I took a flight from Udon Thani to Phnom Penh with 2 suitcases containing everything I owned that mattered. Clothes, laptop, a few photos from before everything went wrong. The last time I saw Wilaiporn, she didn't even look at me. She was in the village with Somchai and Liam, sitting outside her parents' house looking happy. She'd already moved on. I was already forgotten. The last time I saw Liam, he was playing in the dirt, laughing. He called Somchai Papa in Thai. He was too young to understand what I'd lost, what I'd believed, how completely I'd been broken. What I left behind, the house, $46,000 of my money in a structure I'd never see again. The monthly allowances and support, $150,000 over 6.5 years. The business funds and family emergencies, $90,000 to support someone else's life. The sinsot, weddings and early expenses, $83,000 buying into fiction. Baby expenses, $8,000 for a child who wasn't mine. Final extortion, 20,000 baht for missing a deadline by hours. Total, 377,000 Canadian dollars in 6.5 years of my life. What I left with, $107,000 in cash and whatever I could sell. Barely enough to survive, not enough for retirement. A fraction of my original savings, just enough to start over if I lived cheaply, spent carefully, hoped nothing went wrong. Thailand chewed me up and spit me out, took everything and gave nothing back. Was never what I thought it was. Showed its true face too late. Was a beautiful lie that cost me my retirement. What it took, my savings, $377,000. My time, 6.5 years, my dignity. Trust, ability to love, faith in people, retirement dreams. Peace of mind, my relationship with my kids back home. Who'd warned me and who I'd stopped calling my health. I'd aged 10 years in 6, what it gave. Lessons I didn't want to learn. Memories that haunt me. Wisdom that came too late. Understanding of how cruel people can be. Knowledge of my own stupidity. A story to warn others. Thailand is set up for this. It protects its own at any cost. It has no sympathy for foreigners. It made it legal to rob me blind. It weaponizes love and kindness. It turns vulnerability into profit. Not all Thais are like this, I know that. But the culture that says taking advantage of foreigners is acceptable, the lack of shame in scamming someone who trusts you, the way money overrides everything including basic decency, that's systemic. That's Thailand. November 2025, I'm 66 years old. I'm living in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. I have $83,000 left. It's not much. I count every dollar. I budget like I never had to before. I've become the person I swore I'd never be. The broke retired expat living in Southeast Asia because it's the only place I can afford. I work online for about $900 a month, teaching English to Chinese students. The work is mind-numbing. I'm 66 years old, staring at a laptop screen for 6 hours a day, teaching children basic grammar when I should be enjoying retirement. I rent a studio apartment for $280 a month. 1 room, a bathroom, a hot plate for cooking. It's clean. It's safe. It's nothing like the house I built in Thailand. I can't afford good health insurance. I have high blood pressure now, probably from the stress. I take medication I buy at Cambodian pharmacies without prescriptions. I worry about what happens if I get seriously ill. I don't date anymore. I can't imagine trusting anyone again. I avoid relationships entirely. I'm completely alone by choice. Better alone than betrayed again. My children from my first marriage don't speak to me. I'd stopped calling them years ago when they'd criticized my decision to move to Thailand to marry Wilaiporn, to spend so much on her. They'd tried to warn me. I'd been too proud to listen. Now I'm too ashamed to reach out. Some days I feel okay. I walk along the riverside, eat cheap Khmer food, read books from a used bookstore. Other days I feel the weight of everything I lost, everything I wasted, everyone I disappointed. Most days I just exist. I wake up, teach classes, eat, sleep, repeat. No joy, no purpose, just survival. If I could go back, I'd never go to Thailand. I'd walk away the first time she asked for money. I'd listen to the warnings. I'd trust my instincts. I'd not be so desperate for love that I ignored every red flag. But I can't. The past is gone. I'm stuck with the choices I made. Time only moves forward. My retirement will be poverty. I've accepted this is how I'll die. Alone in a cheap apartment in Cambodia. having wasted my savings on a woman who never loved me, having sacrificed my security for a lie. I don't see things getting better. I'm just trying to make it to tomorrow. I have no plans, just survival. If you're watching this, reading this, hearing my story, I'm telling you this for a reason. Learn from my mistakes. Don't be me. Save yourself. Here are 7 things I learned after losing almost $400,000. Too late to help me, but maybe not too late for you. Lesson number 1. Never put property in her name. I thought we're married so it's ours, she'd never betray me. Thai law required it. The truth is, the moment it's in her name, it's hers legally. You have 0 claim. You can't force a sale. You can't get it back. You're at her mercy. Rent instead, it's cheaper than losing a house. If you must buy a condo in your name where legal. Consider her wanting property the biggest red flag. If she insists on a house, walk away. This mistake cost me $46,000. Don't let it cost you. Lesson number 2. If the age gap is 20+ years, it's not love. I was 52, she was 28. She wasn't attracted to me. She was attracted to my wallet. No 25-year-old genuinely falls for a 50-year-old. The romance was performance. She was working. I wanted to believe I was special. Thought my personality made up for age. Convinced myself she saw past appearances. Ignored biology and common sense. Ask yourself, would she be with you if you had no money? Would she choose you over a Thai man her age if both had the same income? Is she affectionate in public or embarrassed? If she calls you handsome man but won't be seen with you in public, you're an ATM, not a boyfriend. Lesson number 3. The family emergencies never stop. Her brother needs money for a motorcycle. You pay it. Next month, another relative, another emergency, another payment. It becomes monthly, then constant. Half the emergencies aren't real. The ones that are real wouldn't be your responsibility in any other culture. Her family sees you as an ATM they can access through her. There's no gratitude, only expectation of more. Say no to the first request, set the precedent. Give a fixed monthly amount and nothing extra ever. If she can't accept that, she's not the one. Her family's financial problems are not your responsibility. I sent $90,000 to her family over 6 years. I never saw a single baht benefit our relationship. Lesson number 4. Don't invest in her business dreams. She wants to open a restaurant, flip properties, start a salon. She says she knows the business, has a plan, will make you both rich, just needs seed money. The business will fail within a year, lose money every month, be mismanaged by her relatives, or mysteriously not be profitable despite customers. She has no real business experience. Her relatives steal from it. She uses it as a personal ATM. Competition is fierce and she's unprepared. It was never about profit, just about getting your money. Never invest money you can't afford to lose completely. Better yet, just say no. Lesson number 5. Sinsot is extortion disguised as tradition. They'll tell you it's tradition, showing respect, proving you can take care of her. It's a foreigner tax, a way to extract maximum money at the start. They'll ask for a high amount. You'll negotiate to a lower amount. You'll feel like you won. You lost. You paid anything at all. Refuse to pay it. Offer a small gift instead. If she insists, major red flag. No genuine relationship should require buying into it. Thai men don't always pay sinsat to Thai women. It's often returned after the ceremony. For foreigners, it rarely is. You're being treated differently because you're foreign. Acknowledge that. I paid $26,000 that went straight to her family and was never seen again. Lesson number 6. The red flags were there. I ignored them all. She kept acting secretive. Her story changed. She was always with friends. She had expensive tastes despite being poor. I ignored it. Her family acted uncomfortable around me. I ignored it. The emergencies were too frequent. The amounts kept increasing. She always had a reason I needed to spend more. I ignored it. I didn't want to see the truth. I was too invested to back out. I told myself I was being paranoid. I wanted to believe so badly. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. One red flag might be nothing. Multiple are a pattern. Don't ignore warnings from others. Don't rationalize away behavior that makes you uncomfortable. Your gut knows before your brain admits it. Listen, lesson number 7, Thailand is not your friend. This isn't about Thai people as individuals. Some are wonderful. This is about how foreigners are treated legally, the cultural acceptance of extracting from outsiders, the lack of legal protection, the way laws favor Thais in every dispute. Realities: you can't own land ever. Business: maximum 49%. You never have control. Marriage doesn't grant property rights like Western countries. Courts heavily favor Thai nationals. Police won't help you in domestic disputes. You'll always be farang, always an outsider. Go to Thailand to visit, not to build a life. Never put your financial security in a country where you have no legal rights. Always maintain an exit strategy. Keep money in your home country. Don't burn bridges back home. After 6.5 years, I still wasn't home. I was a tolerated guest who paid rent on an entire life. Lesson number 8. Don't sacrifice your security for anyone. I gave up my retirement, my savings, my future, my security for someone who never loved me. For a woman who saw me as a wallet. For a relationship that was fake from the start. If I'd kept my money invested, I'd have about $850,000 now. If I'd stayed home, I'd be retired comfortably, financially secure, living well. Instead, I have $83,000 and a lifetime of work ahead of me. No woman, Thai or otherwise, is worth your entire future. Love shouldn't cost you everything you've worked for. If she truly loves you, she won't demand you sacrifice your security. Your number one priority must be your own financial safety. You can't save her from poverty by joining her in it. All you do is make 2 people poor instead of 1. These 8 lessons cost me $377,000 and 6.5 years to learn. I'm giving them to you for free. Maybe, just maybe, someone will listen. Maybe you'll avoid my fate. Maybe my story will save one person. Maybe this wasn't all for nothing. If you're watching this, reading this, listening to my story, you're probably thinking about moving to Thailand. You're already there and things aren't feeling right. You're in love with a bar girl and wondering if it's real. Or you're exactly where I was in 2011. Don't do what I did. Please don't put property in her name. Don't believe the "we're different" lie. Don't ignore red flags because you're in love. Don't sacrifice your retirement. Don't trust someone you met in a bar. Don't think age gap doesn't matter. Because you'll end up like me, broke at 66 with nothing. Working when you should be retired, full of regret, unable to fix what you've broken. What you should do instead. If you're considering Thailand, visit Thailand, don't move there permanently. Keep your money in your home country, rent, never buy. Set a monthly budget and stick to it. Assume every woman you meet in a bar is working, because she is. Don't marry anyone until you've known them at least 2 years. Preferably 3. Never give money for emergencies without verification. Learn enough Thai to understand what people are saying around you. Don't trust her family to look out for your interests. Maintain relationships back home. Don't burn bridges. If you're already in Thailand, if she's asking for money constantly, it's time to leave. If her family treats you like an ATM, it's time to leave. If she's secretive with her phone, it's time to leave. If friends are warning you listen to them. If you're spending more than your income, stop immediately. If anything is in her name only, accept you've lost it and move on. If you have kids together, get a DNA test now, not later. Document everything: receipts, transfers, conversations. Keep an exit fund separate. Money she doesn't know about. Have a plan to leave if things go wrong. If you're thinking about building a house or starting a business, don't. Seriously, just don't. If you absolutely must, expect to lose everything. Consider it a gift with 0 expectation of return. Keep it under $10,000, absolute maximum. Accept that you'll never see that money again. If she really loves you, she'll accept these boundaries. If she fights them, gets angry, threatens to leave, or accuses you of not trusting her, then you have your answer. She doesn't love you. She loves your money. I wish someone had told me all of this in 2011. Actually, people did tell me. Derek told me. Martin told me. My kids told me. I just didn't listen. I thought I knew better. I thought we were different. I thought love conquered all. I was wrong about everything. Thailand is beautiful. The food is amazing. The weather is perfect. The culture is fascinating. But don't mistake tourism for residence. Don't mistake transaction for relationship. Don't mistake being welcomed as a customer for being accepted as a member of society. You will always be foreign. You will always be outside. You will always be the one with money surrounded by people without it. That dynamic doesn't create love. It creates opportunity for exploitation. I'm not bitter. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just tired. Tired and broke and 66 years old, living in Cambodia because I can't afford anywhere better. Working online because I can't afford not to. Alone because I can't afford to trust again. Don't be me. Learn from my $377,000 mistake. Save yourself while you still can. Because once you've given it all away, your money, your time, your dignity, your future, you can't get it back. All you can do is survive on what's left and warn others not to follow you down the same path. I lost almost everything in Thailand. Don't let Thailand take everything from you.